Dr. Idowu Adewumi is a political observer. Dr. Adewumi, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Viewers, Merry Xmas.
When there is life, there is hope. Nigeria is still in existence. We've had not too pleasant times in the past, fundamental failures, yes. Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in, moved around the country, campaigned, and he said it's been a lifetime ambition for him, and eventually he won that election through majority of votes, and now the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Renewed hope. Yes, our renewed is our hope. With expectation, the jubilation that heralded the electoral victory and inauguration is our hope, truly renewed. Mr. Dr. Adewumi.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you know, if you check it very well, the frustration in the country increased since 29th of May, 2023. And what exactly increased it? The pronouncement of Mr. President that subsidy has gone. Of course, yes. I think I've been on this program before where I explain what subsidy are, and of course we know that there are some certain set of people that are actually eating from there. Yes, fine, subsidy has gone, but one thing that I said then that is now playing out bigly now is this. If you want to make sure that your baby won't be sucking again, then you will make provision for baby food. You just take breast away from the baby's mouth and you think things will work in orderly manner. It can never happen. And that is the sudden withdrawal of that subsidy. Even though people are claiming, oh, it's not the one that did it, it's not, whether it's the one, it's not the one, you inherit both assets and liability.
The fuel subsidy removal ushered the new administration in.
Yeah, and that is the problem, that if this administration doesn't careful, they are going to battle this in the next 4 years. I can assure Nigerians. Hope. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has promised Nigerians different things, and we are getting different things. Let me give you an example. During his inaugural speech, he told us, don't worry, students, by September 2023, I'll be dishing out student loan, and everybody will be fine. You will go to school of your choice. After the 4 or 5 years program in your university or tertiary institution, then you go for NYSC and you start paying within 10 years. And good package. Do we have it now? This is December.
He has already done that.
He told us about Agricultural Commodity Board. Of course, as we are talking to you, as we speak now, I'm a farmer, a practical farmer at the same time. I work for the Ministry of Agriculture. As I'm talking to you now, do you know a number of farmers that are in debt? Because there is no price commodity board. He promised us, where is the price commodity board? After a month or thereabout, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come up, he said he declared state of emergency on food security. Where is the state of emergency? Where is the food? A bag of rice is between 60 to 65,000 naira. Nigeria are smiling, but they are suffering. Nigerians cannot afford, look around. They can't even afford normal okweko for their Xmas celebration. Why? Because, check around who and who that are selling even chicken. Compare their numbers of the vendors selling to numbers that sold chicken last year. You see that there is drastic reduction. People will tell me, it's not Bola Tinubu, there is who? Am I the president? Are you the president? The president doesn't know how to manage the economy in such a way that the economy will actually favor common man on the street.
He inherited a almost crumbling economy. So a crumbling economy inherited, but we'll come back to that. You seems not to be impressed with the performance of Mr. President thus far.
Even
But,
World Bank rated Mr. President low. Even the British journal that came out recently rated him low in terms of economy.
maybe a hasty rating or hasty evaluation, some would say. But let's look at
6
this.
months.
Mr. Sumbo Badejoko, 6 months, almost 7 months. Some will say Rome wasn't built in a day, and you're coming newly on board, you meet some bottlenecks and loopholes or traps, dungeons within. But as Mr. President derailed in his promises and ambition of transforming this nation, let's look at the cabinet members. We have round pegs, round hole, and also the initial litigations which has been put to finality now. Was that also of any effect?
You are answering the questions that you asked yourself. The one thing that I would say is that as analysts, we observe what is going on there. And in as much as we will point out to the wrongdoings of the government, we still need to be objective and try to imagine you are the one at the ends of affair. How will you handle this situation? Would you have done it better? If you would have done it better, what are the decisions that you would have taken? So, if I'm going to grade the performance of the president in these 6.5 months, I will give him 40%. I can't give him more than that. Why? Because even though some measures taken to address the economy are positive thing, but we have issues with timing and we have issues with implementation. When you have those two things wrong, the outcome of that policy would not be impactful on the people. And that is why we are where we are now. He said it probably out of enthusiasm of the president. It wasn't written in the speech that was prepared for inauguration. But he was carried away, probably, yes, I'm now the president. And he made that pronouncement, subsidy is gone.
Are we sure it was not part of the speech prepared?
It wasn't. We saw the written speech. I'm sure you have read it too. It was not part of it. He made that statement. Immediately, market forces reacted.
Let's start from this point of view. Cabinet member and the issue of litigation.
Well, the issue of litigation will definitely slow down the pace of things because anything can happen at the judiciary. Forget the fact that no president has been removed by the court. There's always a beginning to everything. So that's almost happened, if not because of maybe fault on the part of the lawyers that the opposition has brought and some other sentiment that actually went into it. But nobody knew where it would end, even though the judiciary gave, all the justices gave the verdict in favor of the president. But there are issues that came up that we cannot ignore. On the cabinet member, the law says 60 days. And we had the cabinet, I think, on the 60th day. And we saw names coming out. You mentioned, are they right pegs and right hole? No. Some of them are, why some are not? Of course, you cannot have 100% cabinet in a country like Nigeria that will be all right pegs in the right hole. Because in forming the cabinet, political consideration will be given. So many other considerations will be, considered. And that is what informed the formation. And you have about 8 former governors, even immediate past governors. In the cabinet, you have popular party men, and you have some technocrats, like the 2 people in charge of the health ministry. These are renowned technocrats. So for them, you could say they are right pegs. The man in charge of works, even though he's a former governor, his discipline and experience fit into that ministry. So you have some of them like that, and you can test from, and you have some people that have that, zeal for performance, probably because they are younger, they have the energy, like the Interior Minister. Give it to him for solving the immigration passport bottleneck. And it was like as if he went there and waved a magic wand. It's all a function of the willingness to do the right thing. Once that is there, you see performance. Now, we are talking about the president himself. Even though there are measures, you told us we have to take hard decisions. Now, when we are taking hard decisions and you expect the people to feel it and endure, we also expect you to lead by example. Now, where there is fault in all of that is that you have a situation where it was convenient for the president to buy SUV for the lawmakers, the office of the wife, and the rest of them.
They bought it for themselves.
It was.
They bought it for themselves.
Yes, it was not so
Not
difficult.
Mr. President buying it for them.
Look, the approval came through his table. If he had said, look at the Zambian president. He was not the one that wants to buy a Fiat V12 engine vehicle. It was a mayor of a city, and he was addressing the cabinet. Why would you approve that for a mayor? That he was approached too, that you need new vehicle, and he said, well, the ones that are there, are they working? He said, yes, I will use those ones. So as a president, he's the leader, he's the CEO of the country. He could ask those things to be stepped down, and they will have no other choice than to do that. But of course, I said political consideration, settling everybody so that they can settle down and move on. But when people see that obvious display of opulence on the part of the leadership, and on the flip side of it, you expect us to endure the hardship of buying a bag of rice for 60,000, even at Christmas, when you could do something to crash the price. You understand? And that is not being done. People would not rate you as a popular person. Now, this is now someone that came in with an unpopular vote. 9% of our voting population elected the president. 9%. That's what the 8.2 million, 8 point whatever million he got translated to. When you do the math, 8 million, or let's say 8.5, you the percentage of 97 million that we have as registered voters. So that is what you have. Now, when you have that...
That may not be a fair analysis.
That is the figure. I'm saying figure
percentage
here.
of actual valid votes.
Look, a lot of people choose not to vote for reasons best known to them. You understand? But they are registered voters. We have a population of 220 million, out of which 97 are registered voters. Now, out of this 97 registered, how many? Okay, let's say how many people voted? 40-something million. Now, out of the 40-something, how many of them voted for the president? Do you understand what you're saying?
Majority of them.
Majority that is not majority. This is the first time we'll be having a president that did not win up to 20 states of the Federation. Since 1999.
Up to
20.
having the lead.
Up to 20. I'm not talking about the constitutional 25%. I'm talking about outright winning of those states.
Okay.
This is the first time we'll be having that.
You have gladiators. You have candidates that are formidable.
It is not the first time we'll be having gladiators. Go back to 2007. On the same ballot, Yar'Adua was there. Atiku Abubakar was there. Muhammadu Buhari was there. None of them is a weakling. They are all popular people from the same region. You understand? And they struck out the votes. Don't forget, that election too was heavily contested, even up to the level of Supreme Court, and it was almost upturned. That is to tell you that it's not the first time we'll be having gladiators on the ballot.
All right. Things evolving, and the political scene, our democracy also evolving. So you have more of active participation and perhaps maturity on the part of voters now. Let's come to you, Dr. Idowu Adewusi. The elections... Adewumi, rather, sorry, please. Dr. Idowu Adewumi. The election's over. The inauguration done, so let's don't belabor ourselves with the litigation or how he came into power, the number of votes. But let's be specific now. Area of security, what he inherited, and the efforts so far. Any improvement, any retrogression? Your assessment, although we had a coordinated attack in Plateau State just 48 hours ago. That was rather unfortunate. But
to some certain level, sincerely yours, there have been things in place, even in terms of security, even before Mr. President comes into power. But of course, say, look at what Comrade mentioned about issue of passport and with the Minister for Interior. It's not just when President Tinubu came in that magic happened. The political power and will to actually execute is what happened. There are some people jeopardizing that particular ministry. And when he came in, he assessed what is on ground and he saw that, oh, why are you now disturbing people from having their passport? Then you can do this. Now come to security, of course. President Muhammad Buhari, former president, has actually procured a lot of some of these things on ground. I mean, the ammunitions and the rest. But where is the political will of stopping that? And in the last 6 months or thereabout, sincerely yours, I can give pass mark to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as regards security issue, because he was able to contain it to some extent, even though, yes, there is no door that is perfect, because somebody actually produced that lock. So, of course, you have the key. It doesn't mean somebody else doesn't have it. So, to some extent, what he's working on as regards security, I can still give him pass mark, because the attack was actually lower compared to what we have been having. Even during, when we have President Muhammad Buhari, which is even general, I mean, you know, military person, retired general in charge. So what we are having now, of course, you can see noise about Boko Haram, noise about kidnapping and some of this. Let's give kudos to the governors also. What governors have done is something that is, you know, commendable. And if you check what former President Muhammad Buhari did during the electionary period, you will see that he gave a standing instruction as regards that security issue. If you see anybody that is illegally touching that ballot box, shoot on sight. That was the instruction. And sincerely, as an election observer, I am telling you that we got to, you know, the hotspot in Oyo State, where we usually have issue of ballot box snatching and the rest. It will interest you that it was even those thugs, those political thugs, that were actually arranging people in order. That, oh, you have to be here, you have to, because they know that there is a standing order. So I give it to him as regards that. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as we speak, still maintain the tempo. And that is what we are enjoying now. We sincerely, the service chiefs that we have now, they are doing very cool and very
all right, let's have your perspective to that now. Issue of security.
Well, I would also agree with my colleague, because the only thing that the security people have not enjoyed is quality reportage on the part of the media. We still have more
Quality reportage.
Yeah.
When the accidental bombing came, we reported it.
It is that kind of report that we get, not when the successes are actually achieved. If not because they also have a media platform within the military that is actually rolling out some of these successes, we wouldn't have been hearing anything. But the thing is, and you see how the accidental bombing was almost politicized, and was almost took a religious dimension, because some people somewhere do not like the military leadership as is presently constituted. You understand? And that is part of the problem that we have in this country. We politicize everything, including human lives. And that is rather unfortunate. How would some people, what had happened is an accident, but the military will not tell you the real information, because even on this set, there are certain things we could not see, even if though we know that this is what actually played out for sensitive reasons. But both the military and those who are trying to play politics with the matter then knew what actually was going on in that environment. So let's leave that. it is unfortunate that we have, this a little bit backwardness, the development of 48 hours ago. That tells you that up north, some of these governors need to do more than they are doing. There is no region that do not have that tendency to have some criminal elements who constitute problems. But they should learn from the Southwest. The governors down here are the ones that are actually taking security more seriously. Otherwise, those tendencies would have also erupted to something else, like we have in other regions. When certain group of people are gathering themselves, you should be able to know, as leaders in the states, where what they are trying to do will lead to.
In some states, you have the ISBA police.
ISBA is more of a religious thing. It's not an outright secure. Can you compare ISBA with Amotekun? You cannot. Because the jurisdiction is limited to just do not drink alcohol in public, do not chase prostitutes. Those are the things that ISBA go after. You understand? Not full-fledged crime or kidnapping. Yeah. So those are the things. I mean, ISBA was more pronounced in Zamfara, for instance. But that is the hub of the banditry. How come they've not been able to achieve much in terms of bringing it down? Because why? The still sort of ISBA officials are probably now part of those who are constituting nuisance in the name of banditry. So you can't compare the two. But look at the governors here, they put that in place. They saw kidnappings coming, springing up. They have to do something about it. And in fairness to them, since Amotekun have came up board, the rate of kidnapping within the Southwest have drastically reduced.
Mr. Subabadejoko, let's look at the oil and gas petroleum sector now in the country. You talk of the fuel subsidy removal, and thereafter we've seen some policies and reform. The Port Harcourt refinery, we're told is working now. Are you satisfied with the intervention so far from Mr. President in that sector?
The fact that no extra money was required by this administration to put Port Harcourt in place is laudable, and we should commend them for that. But in the whole of the petroleum sector, there is this one problem, and that is the issue of forex.
Foreign exchange.
Yes. $1 now sells for like 1,200. Even the government now has pegged the official rate to 735 naira to $1, according to the budget for next month. Now, when you have that, that means our naira has been devalued by about 300 naira. So that devaluation will have its own effects on the economy. And it's the reason why you are having the inflation figure approaching 30%. Why you have single-digit inflation in some other countries. Ours is not just double, it's approaching 30. And that is the reason why everybody is crying. And this is a nation where we have this uncontrollable desire for imported goods and services. Not just goods now, but also services. To the extent that if you want to sell your locally manufactured product, just brand it foreign. That is what will make it to sell. You understand? Until you do that, people don't have that, and until we begin to consume what we produce, we will not be able to do, the government cannot do much in bringing down because our currency, naira, is not being sought after from outside, and that is why it's weakening. And when you have that value, anything that comes in, it jacks up the price of petroleum products. Diesel is among. Diesel talks about production. Petrol is among. Petrol talks about logistics, movement from
transportation.
You understand? And when you add these two together, it will tell on the price, and that is why we have high prices of things. So, forex is the main thing. We are technically still importing. Our hope is that by January, we will not import again. So until we stop importation and we see the effect of that stoppage, we cannot really rate much. But we give credit to the fact that crude are now going to the existing refinery, and the government's own is, and they are trying to do some things that which I would have an issue with, giving them priorities. Okay, you focus on Jet A1 and diesel, why you will focus on petrol.
So to you, the president is still on track in that sector. Maybe a snail-like movement, but still on track.
I wouldn't say it's a snail-like movement. You know, you mentioned one thing, though. You mentioned it in the realm of our security. I mean, the passport, whatever. We have a group of people that I call economic bandits. In common parlance, saboteurs.
Economic bandits.
Yeah, out there, who would always look at government policy not to their own advantage, and because they are influential people, they would seek to frustrate them, or wanting to blackmail the government to dance to their own tune. And so that is there, and you need a president with a strong will, and that's what this man is demonstrating in a way that is helping him to even achieve the little, because we have people that do not want this country to develop that are in large number, more than those who even want the country to develop.
We eat what we produce, and we produce what we expect it to eat. So says Mr. Sombobadile. Well, Mr. Idowu Adewumi, the agriculture sector now, that's your jurisdiction. What's your assessment? Perhaps this appears to be the best time for farmers in the country. Rice revolution, other revolutions and reformation within the sector. Tell us 6 months after.
Well, I said it. When Mr. President came on board, probably a month or thereabout after, he declared state of emergency on food security. And what did I understand by the word state of emergency? It means that there is an attack on food and food security. What I expected as a farmer, as a lecturer, what I expected is not what we are seeing. Mr. President in that area has not done much, because a typical Nigerian cannot even afford a Congo of rice.
You're so particular about rice.
Yes, because that is what Nigerians consume more.
I love talking about the locally produced one or the imported one.
Even the locally produced, they were not, encouraged. It was, I heard recently that your state government now started distributing some loans for local farmers. Oh, kudos to Engineer Sheyi Makinde on that. But what happens from the top? What happens? When you said you declare state of emergency on a particular sector, it shows that you are going to fund that sector even times 2, times 3 of what you have been doing. It shows that you are going to call experts in that sector. I'm an agric engineer, for crying out loud. Ask agric engineers that as the federal government talk to them about this state of emergency on food security. Ask agronomists. Ask agric extension agent. Nobody was communicated. They were the one on their head thinking of what to do. I know they are still thinking of something to import in. If you don't grow what you are eating, then there's going to be an issue. Dollar will continue to jack up. What they're supposed to do, see, the issue of refinery, yes, it's fine. At least what he's doing is cool there. But the point of order is that we can't stop importation of food to this country. I can bet it between the next 1 year. It's what I know. We can't, because what Port Harcourt will produce, what Dangote will produce at a point cannot actually push Nigeria to where we are going. What Nigerian government needs to do is that they have no business in doing business, but they need to create an enable environment for entrepreneurs to thrive properly. People are ready to invest in the country, but the problem is that there is no security even for their fund. This has been issued. Do you know the number of Nigerians that are in abroad that invested between 2019 until date on agriculture, but they get zero back? Majority, it happens to some of us. What happened? In 2019, 2020, we were selling a capstar of cassava, 250,000 naira. Today, a capstar is less than 120, 100,000. It depends on your farm location. Now, what goes to you? People that will uproot the cassava for you, people that will load the cassava for you, they are all there collecting their stipend. So at the end of the day, farmer goes home with 80,000 naira. We were actually getting input in dollars, but we were selling in naira. Look at that deficit.
Disparity.
When a 1 liter of the herbicide that we are going to use on farm, we goes for probably now is between 4,500 to 10,000 naira a liter. Imagine a farmer that is actually working on about 250 hectares. Imagine number of can or liter of herbicide is going to use to treat that farm before it can have results. Now all this started counting. Some of us has the product. We you know, a lot of farmers run into problem. Look at what crashes former president initiative on bank or borrower money they can't actually repay, and that is how it is in the sector. We have a lot of people that serious debt because of what? There is no price control commodity board. We need cocoa board. We need cassava board. We need maize board. We need board that will regulate all these things. What we can see Mr. President has been doing, they are just board for tax. We need to move away from some of these things and actually get Nigerian, what exactly Nigerians are going to eat. Nigerian are suffering, we are producing, we are still suffering. Now, as we are talking to you, a bag of rice ranging between 60 to 65,000 naira. How many Nigerians can afford that? Some Nigerians, that is their 3-month salary. So are they going to use their 3-month salary to buy rice? Is it only rice they are going to eat? Look at how much they are selling chicken, turkey now. Nigerians don't even bother again. What they are looking at now is that let me just get fish and eat. Even that fish is now expensive again. So Mr. President really has to check what exactly that is happening to that ministry. The ministry that I can tell you that Mr. President actually declared state emergency on is like Ministry of that Interior, even though he doesn't pronounce it. But we can see that within a week, 2 weeks, you can actually process your Nigerian passport, you get it, compared to 6 months, 1 year that usually happened before. That is state of emergency. But the one that he actually pronounced, we don't get feedback for it. What we can get now, of course, we know it's ripple effect of what has been happening before. If I'm Mr. President, if I'm on seat, what I will do is easy. Whatever we are producing this year is what we will eat next year. So since I know that my predecessor has actually failed in that area to some extent, I will make sure that I open border for some certain things to come in. It happens in America. When Biden got into the system and he discovered that there is a big issue when it comes to baby things, especially baby food. He imported baby food into America and was largely subsidized. For example, if the cost of one food is $5, for example, the government brought those things in and, asked them to be selling it for $2 and the rest. So Mr. President can import that rice that you know is one of the headache of Nigeria and be selling 20,000, 25,000.
And kill local production. These are antithetical.
Killing local production.
So
local production cannot sustain Nigeria at this point because they have failed over a few years. Because Nigerians didn't support them. Are you getting it now? If you want to get it right in that area, Mr. President still needs to work in which areas should I lift band, or the country himself will be the sole, importer of some of these food items. So that will actually crash the current price. We don't have what can sustain our people on ground.
All right.
That's the truth.
Maybe importation of some of these items not a solution, but aggressive, commitment to ensuring that we have full, sufficient local production. The political will must also be there. But let's quickly go to the area of education. Wow. You talk of the student loan. You talk of ASU backlog of arrears and others. These are the few ones I can remember. Anything of worthy of note Are you really impressed with the president's performance in the education sector?
Education is one of the sectors that you cannot rate in a hurry because we are talking about years of dilapidation. Where we can actually raise concern is how much in the next budget is going for education. About 7%, which significantly is low because UNESCO recommended 26%, as if you really want to be serious. And what the implication of that is, for every year you were not able to meet 26%, the next year budget you must compensate for the shortage in the previous budget. Now, when was the last time we even do 15%? When? I can't, since 1999 we have not done that. Now, we are giving about 7% now to fund education. And when we say funding of education, we are really talking about looking at the infrastructures in those institutions that are dilapidating. It is true that education is concurrent. It's not an exclusive reserve of the federal government. So when we say education, we cannot put everything at the foot of the president, or every blame rather. The governors have their own fair share. In fact, they have to do more because primary and secondary is their domain. And that is the basis, that's the foundation of education. Where I would want the president to focus on is how to promote skills. We have placed too much emphasis on certification, and that has killed skills. And what is trending now is skills. Everybody cannot get, it's not everybody that needs a university degree. In the civilized world, college degree is not what translates to wealth, and we are seeing the effects now. And already, you are seeing the kind of disillusionment for education on the part of the younger generation, to the extent that they are calling education a scam. That is what is breed. That is the mindset of an average Yahoo.
Regrettably so.
Regrettably so, because over the years we've misplaced our priorities on that. So we need to really set the priorities right. Let there be an overall of, we need to overhaul the national education policy to target development of skills, and we must be serious about it. We need to bring back the technical colleges. We need to really ensure that even if we want to go back to industrialization, where are the artisans or the technical personnel that would really work in those factories? We don't have them again. Even those who are locally trained, they are riding motorcycle and keke up and down. They are not really practicing what they have learned, and that has discouraged others from coming into it. So we need to really focus on this, because when you say education, it goes beyond learning how to read and write. It goes beyond having a degree in some obsolete courses that are no longer trending. Science and technology is the main thing now. How much of effort are we putting in place? We have so many private institutions coming up, but most of them don't do sciences. They start with these cheaper ones that will not require much equipment to be in place for accreditation. And our population is increasing. Demand for education is following. We need to start looking at skills. That is what countries like Brazil, United States, Russia, and those countries with big population, China, that is what they have relied on. China, India. You understand? That is why they are not really, they're moving forward. It's only countries with smaller population like Finland, and you see them spending more on education than countries with larger population, because those don't know what we need to do. Everybody cannot get a white-collar job. So once you promote skills, you make the society enabling for their skills to thrive. They are down their home. That is what the government should do for us.
All right, thank you. Dr. Adewumi, let's look at the aviation sector and merge that with international relations under this current administration, the image of the country and its courage when it comes to international gatherings.
Thank you very much. We are still here to get there at that sector, even though the current minister is trying his own bit, but there are a lot of factors that is dictating things in that particular sector. You can see what the airfare looks like now, and that is even globally. It's not only in Nigeria, but if you check, the issue of these forex has actually dipped into that particular industry too. I remember, I think 2 years ago, we still fly even BA, British Airline, with 420,000 return ticket from to UK. But now, if you want to fly BA now, you have about 1.3, 1.4 million before you can do that. So it's the difference? The difference is what happens to the forex currently, what happens to the forex in the last 2 years. So that industry called aviation is having problem as regards forex, and what can actually bring it down is when we encourage more local production, and is when we make sure that we put on we put on our things. Comrade, I've said it the other time, the Nigerian will produce shoe and put Italy there, because they know that if you get to the store and you saw Nigeria there, you won't buy. Why? Let's encourage local consumption, local production and consumption. Not that we'll now be focusing on ordinary toothpick. People will tell you that I prefer the imported toothpick than Nigerian own. What's wrong with our own? We should see technology that we are all talking about. The custodian of technology, they are Asians. Asians doesn't have, majority of them doesn't have formal education. What they have is that they promote their vocations. That is what they have. That's what they move with. So they make sure that their vocations is what they are, they promote more skills. I used to tell students, I will tell them that there is one English that will tell you that you can even open Oxford Dictionary and you won't get it there. And that is, your certificate is better than certificate. So you can open Oxford Dictionary and you won't get certificates there. But what does that mean? What you can do with your hand. I used to tell our young people, I don't know why they are disturbing themselves. One of the fastest growing, highest paid industry in the world now is IT. What's the problem? Why Nigerians are not keen into that? And let's get more forex in through IT than what we are saying now. But our people, instead of them to keen to IT, really, they prefer Yahoo, they prefer all those shortcut, medium. You that can just, within a day or two, you can develop a website, and of course, you can develop a portal system, then you get money from it. You can actually be a digital marketer. You get something from it. And you can, you see, IT is an international language that, of course, through that we can, earn more foreign exchange to this country than spending out. Look at amount of naira now, the Nigerians, or dollars, the Nigerian will be actually getting now for January admission, for March admission in US, in UK, in Canada. You can't imagine all those crazy amounts, $30,000, $40,000. Nigerians are paying.
Right.
These are the things that are actually putting pressure on the forex, and that is what is actually affecting that industry called aviation.
All right. Although you've injected part of the economy into that. Mr. Sumbobade Joku, when you look at all this, let's quickly look at the drive of the Nigerian government to fight corruption completely. Any motivation, any positive moves, and are you really impressed?
I've decided to just fold my hands on that because I've not seen anything new that has been done. Our fight against corruption needs a total overhaul, change of approach. For instance, it begins with the area of proper investigation. That will lead to the right charges of the of the suspects in court. Then we need to really do away with this idea of taking corrupt cases to regular courts. Let us have special anti-corruption tribunal that will have only one appeal, and that will be the final appeal. And let lawbreakers, let corrupt people be facing the full wrath of the law. That is the only way to stop it.
You are talking of the solutions now.
Yes,
I want your assessment.
That is
so far.
I'm not assessing. That's why I said I've decided to fold my hands. I've not seen anything new. What Buhari did is what Tinubu is doing. You understand? High-profile prosecution. When Buhari started, it was Sambo Dasuki that was being paraded up and down. Now he has come with a Emefiele. You understand what I'm saying? Is there anything new there?
All right. Let's quickly allow those who are watching to have also their views attended to on this program now. The telephone lines already on your television screen. Let's make it interactive. Call to share your views with us. 0708 682 5197 and 0907 160 6375. These are the numbers to call to be part of Matters Arising today. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. All right, we'll move on. With our guest in the studio, we've talked on corruption, security, and let's delve into the economy now as a whole. The economy, life standard of living, better than we were 7 or 8 months ago. Your assessment, Mr. Sumbo Badejoko.
Well, on the economy on the whole, the economy is like when you have a dilapidated structure that you want to rebuild, you may have to collapse the whole thing and start afresh from foundation. That, I think, is what is going on. Because if you are building an economy, you need to put infrastructures in place. And of all the infrastructures that you need to put in place to build an economy is power. Before Tinubu came on board, we have raised our power generation to 12,000 megawatts. But we have a problem. We could not transmit the whole 12,000 megawatts effectively. So we could only transmit 5,000 out of it, which means we have to do something about our transmission line. That is what the government is currently doing with Siemens. And it's not something that you can do abracadabra and it's fixed. It will take time. So that's why I said we cannot begin to, but it's a measure put in place. The president has also moved around to look at investors, how to woo them in. The investors will look at that infrastructure. They look at what Doctor mentioned the other time, security. They look at, okay, return on investment. If I put money in this economy, will I be able to repatriate my profits easily? Before, under Buhari, there was problem. To the extent that we have all our trap fund, all repatriated profits, up to the tune of $10 billion. That has been cleared to boost the confidence of those who will come in. But we need to really stop giving them the negative news of some people have been killed, some people have been kidnapped. Then we need to let them know that, yes, if you set up a company, you don't need to look for how to generate power by yourself. There is power available for you. Then that will bring down the cost of doing business, the cost of production. Because the mindset of an average businessman is to make profits and to maximize it like that.
On the state of the economy.
So you need to really promote one, the large scale industrialization, on the broad scale, small and medium scale enterprise. Once they thrive, they are the ones that would increase the GDP, create jobs, and of course, bring about an improvement in standard of living. And of course, revenue for the government, because you will later tax all these incorporations that will be set up to bring in tax revenue for the government.
All right. Any movement within the economy? Positive one, negative one, or stagnation?
There are steps, you understand? But the effect of those steps are not being felt. And until that is being felt, we cannot say this is the improvement, because we are yet to have the figure, the Q4 figure. The Q3 is a little bit significant improvements, about 1 point something percent increase in the GDP. But GDP is only addressing growth. There must also be development, and that is where standard of living comes in.
All right. Dr. Eduwadewumi, the Japa syndrome, one wonders. I know the government or the president has not encouraged Japa or exodus movement of people out of this country. But let's look at that too, the effect of that.
One of the major...
And the image it is given to the current administration.
The major problem we are having currently is the Japa syndrome. In terms of brain draining that is happening in all sectors, people are just actually looking at medical sector alone. It's not only medical sector. Do you know the number of engineers that have left? Do you know the number of experts here and there that have left this country? Now, it's not only in that area of brain draining, that, there is another area. It's one of the problems we are having in this economy. Let me tell you this. Somebody will have a house. You go and sell that house for 50 million. And he will pack all the 50 million. Send it to UK or US. That is 50 million in Nigeria economy. 10 million from Nigeria economy. Packed to UK school, US school, Canada school. In the name of Japa. We need, my word for people in this country, number one, we need to know this is our country, this is Nigeria. We have people that have been there since 1980, since 1990 something. Despite that they have all their passports, they have all their papers, despite that, they still know that Nigerian is my country. There are second citizens over there. They should think of Nigeria and Nigerians first. Packing all our money here and said we want to go and have better education. I don't know the better education that we can have than what we are having here. That's the truth. Somebody like me, I've compared both. I have my first degree, second degree here in University of Ibadan, and of course, my doctorate is in UK, and we compare everything and we can see that we are still the best. That's just the fact. Technology differs us. Yes, we don't argue that. But what we are saying is that we went to Jekile Simi, and yet this is here we are. So Nigerians should just let us think. Let's just reduce this issue of Japa. This is your country, for crying out loud. If anything is wrong, let's sit down and we can do our excursion as we want to. But why don't we make Osogbo also a place of visit? What happens to some of our dams here? A place of visit where we can invite our colleagues that are white too, to bring their own money too to our economy.
All right.
You should know what that one means.
All right. The Tinubu administration, has it better united Nigeria? Are we more united, not divided than before? Country's unity and acceptability of the government.
Considering the electioneering period and the immediate aftermath of the campaign, what we have now is an improvement to what we had earlier this year. So we can say, well, significantly, there's effort towards bringing the country together.
Acceptability of the people of the current administration?
That is still, there's still a question mark on that, because people will accept you when you please them, when they're satisfied with your performance. Until that hardship goes away, there's nothing like acceptance.
All right, thank you very, very much. My guest in the studio, Mr. Sumbo Badejoko, a public affairs analyst. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks to you as well, Dr. Eduwadewumi, a political observer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
And thanks to you all for watching Matters Arising today. To whom much is given, much is expected. So, much is expected from the current administration. We pray for their success. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye.
Hello, Sister Bridget. How are you?
I'm fine, ma.
Is it true that Sister Dedun is back in the country?
Pastor Mrs. Ma, it's true. I learned she came back 3 days ago.
Seriously? And she didn't deem it fit to let the pastor or myself know that she was returning. Did she return to her previous apartment?
No.